I greet you. Thank you for inviting us here. The governors who are here, led by Governor James Orengo, Ruot Mewa, Ladit Ruot David Achana from Uganda. All the cabinet secretaries, including our own Minister of Defense, Honorable Oboth. And all the leaders here, we especially thank KLUO for the leadership and for the message. You see, when I was at Makerere, Governor James Orengo contemporaneously was the president of the student union at Nairobi University. I was president of the guild at Makerere University, same time. And a great and brilliant leader had gone ahead of us. One of the most iconic presidents of the guild, Makerere Guild ever, is none other than Governor Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o of Kisumu. So in a very special way, this is a reunion of sorts. Today we are at the foothills of Got Ramogi. You see outside Gulu, there is Got Lamogi. The R and L became interchangeable because of our association with the Bantu. But outside Gulu in Amoro district is Got Lamogi. Some of you will know that in Africa's history, one of the fiercest resistance to colonial intrusion came to be known as the Lamogi resistance. That's when the Lamogi clan at Got Lamogi outside Gulu mounted a fierce resistance to colonialism. The colonial order only subdued them after the use of chemical weapons and starvation. So one of these days soon, I hope, you will come to Gulu, you will go to Got Lamogi. Now, Piny Luo, what does this denote to us? Piny Luo denotes three things to us. It denotes the Luo people. It denotes the land inhabited by the Luo people, Luo land, wherever they may be. And it denotes, thirdly, the interwoven Luo civilization. That's what Piny Luo denotes to us. When we speak of the unity that is in the theme of this year's gathering, that unity means the oneness of Luo people. Common history, common ancestry, common language. But the diversity in our theme denotes the multiplicity of clans among the Luo. The Luos are divided into clans all over. For example, Game clan is very big here. Game is very big among the Central Luo in Uganda. The same clan. But also, diversity means that because of colonial borders, the Luo communities are now divided into separate ex-colonial administrations. So I just want to share with you this. First, what is it that makes the Luo people distinctive? What makes them stand out? What is particular about them? Yes, they have got some choice land, but there are other people who have more choice land than us. They have in the past had communities which were prosperous and well-to-do, but there are other communities which are more prosperous than us. In numbers, we are moderate. There are many communities much bigger than the Luo community. But what is distinctive about the Luo people is Kitwa. That is what is distinctive, Kitwa. In the Luo, the Luo of Central Luo of Uganda, we say Kitmewa, same as Kitwa, where we've tried to compile the attributes, the qualities, the traits that define the Luo character type. We've just published this 2 days ago in Gulu, and there are copies available here. I suppose what is here isn't very different from the character type here. For example, among the Luo, it's very important to be lagen, to be trustworthy, to be faithful, to have fidelity. When the colonial administration went to Jaramogi and said, "We can make you the first leader of Kenya," while Kenyatta was in Kapenguria, Jaramogi said, "Uhuru na Kenyatta." That is fidelity. That is lagen. That is faithfulness. The same Jaramogi, when he perceived that the chosen path had been lost, the same Jaramogi said to his friend, "Not yet Uhuru." That is fidelity. That is faithfulness. And when Mzee Kenyatta passed on, Jaramogi walked in alone with his fly whisk and gave, we call it PM, we call it Much Much in Central Luo, the incantation that pays tribute and gives praise to the great works of the departed. They had parted ways, but Jaramogi was faithful to the monumental contribution of Mzee Kenyatta. He did not rewrite history. Today, when you go to the museum in Bondo, you'll see as much of Jaramogi on the walls as you'll see of Mzee Kenyatta. He did not seek to rewrite history. That is faithfulness. That is fidelity. Our people valorize being truthful. We say ada in the Luo in our area. Truthfulness. Truthfulness. Our people, like those who are Jowat, they relate to others. They welcome others. They live in happiness and generosity with the others. Jowat is a very important character trait among our people. Our people say, "Jo PM, Wahero PM." They see a challenge, a major challenge, like God Ramogi, but they are undaunted. They say, "We must overcome this challenge." That is the spirit of the Luo. Those are part of the Luo traits. Our people like to have good humored banter and teasing. We say ore among our people. Their teeth are out. They like to tease, to banter, to make others feel at home. That is quintessentially a Luo character. The Luo people are not parochial. They are not inward looking. They are cosmopolitan in their outlook. So when they're in Luo land, they welcome others. In Central Luo in Uganda, we've had others who came, and even we said, "Guchamo ke" in our place. They got big positions and were elected to big positions, but in their blood, they were not Luo, but they became part of us. That is the cosmopolitan aspect of the Luo. When they're in Nairobi or in Kampala or in Mombasa, they reach out. They become part of the web where they are. They don't remain exclusive. They respect, they learn, and they integrate with the others. The Luo people are quintessentially cosmopolitan. They are a people who value their tradition and history. Jaramogi was so deeply rooted in the Luo tradition. I had the good fortune when I was ambassador of Uganda to the United Nations to get to know the great man at close range. I would welcome him at JFK at the airport, take him home. He would stay with me when he came to the United Nations or going to Canada or to Cuba, and would spend hours in the evening at dinner talking. Jaramogi was deeply, deeply rooted in his Luo tradition. That is what gave him the confidence to accept and to respect the other communities as a Kenyan nationalist and as a Pan-Africanist. So these traditions, our people, we say, Dogi Pekila, they were people who would not touch the property and the money and the assets of the community. It was a taboo. Grand corruption was a taboo within the Luo community. And so, what made our people, gave force to our people, is not our land, not the oil wealth in Gulu and Nwoya, not the vast land that we may occupy in places. It was Kitwa, our character, our values, our moral code, our do's and don'ts, our sense of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. That is what gave force to the Luo community. And if we lose that, we have lost our bearing. Similarly, the Luo people love knowledge and learning well before the Europeans came on the scene. They would know everything about their environment, about cultivating the land, about hunting, about history. The same people would know all the dances and the songs, and they would beat the drums. Their history, their sense of knowledge was a unified field of knowledge. It wasn't divided into silos like the European system of knowledge. That's our people. That is why when the Europeans came with classroom learning, it was easy for the Luo people to connect to that, because already they had in their history, in their culture, a very deep well of loving knowledge, respecting knowledge, and learning. If we lose this, this is our soft power. This is our real power. If we lose this moral bearing, these values, these metaphysical assets, we have lost our way. So my first and most important, I implore you, Jacob, I implore you, Peter, I implore you, James, work day and night to make sure our people don't lose their moral bearing, that we do not become a Shauri Yako society. Because if we do a society in which anything goes, we shall have lost our Luoness. It's as clear as that. And secondly, our people, our forebears, their force was they were rooted in their culture, deeply rooted in their culture. I spoke earlier about Jaramogi, how deeply rooted he was in the Luo culture. You know, we have a particularly rich cultural heritage. If I speak of the Central Luo alone, I'm sure Ruot would have come here with the dancers of Buola, of Otole, and Apiri, and La Raka Raka. The list goes on and on. He would have come here with the musicians who have various instruments to play. I've barely seen that anywhere around the world, and I've gone around the world quite a bit. Such rich, incredible artistic expression. I remember very well the French ambassador when I was in Paris. I'd organized a little concert for Jeffrey Oriema before he became very well known. And the French ambassador was on leave, and he told me when he was told I was from Uganda, he said, "Where from Uganda do you come?" I said, "From Gulu." "Oh, Gulu?" I said, "Yes." Then he made a confession that when he went to Gulu for some function during the Troubles, they prepared some meal for them. And the French ambassador said, "As you know, we the French, one of our items of great pride, our calling card around the globe, is what they call our cuisine." But the French ambassador confessed to me he was shocked to discover somewhere in the middle of Africa, a community he had barely heard of had a cuisine that was more exquisite, that was more plentiful than the French cuisine. That is our culture. We have something called Ododo. I don't know what you call it in the Luo here. Ododo are the fables, very elaborate fables about animals, about the elephant and the hare and the lion, but they tell moral stories to the young people, which we tell to our children at Wang O, the fireplace. I've not been anywhere around the globe where I've seen such elaborate and intricate and really important stories as our fables or our Ododo. If we abandon our culture, if we abandon our cultural roots, we shall be a floating people with no force and no energy and no power. If we abandon our language, we no longer speak it, we don't read it, we don't publish it. A language which is not spoken, which is not published in, dies. This rich culture will disappear if we don't embrace and reinforce it. That is my second message to you all, Jatela, who are here for our people. And then thirdly, I said earlier, this is very important. There's a reason why the Luo have been such committed nationalists, whether in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Kenya, wherever they are, but also such passionate Pan-Africanists. There's a reason for that. Because of the cosmopolitan DNA in us. That's the reason why. Don't abandon that. Do not embrace discrimination and segregation. It is not in our DNA. We are a free people, a liberated people. We embrace others and their cultures. We respect them. We just do not want anybody to disrespect anybody else. That is all. That is all. That is all. We do not seek hegemony, domination. No, not one bit. We want mutual respect. We want equal opportunities. We want everybody, all of us, to have our place under God's sun. So let us not lose our cosmopolitan character. And then, I want to say this to you. Among the Central Luo, the Acholi community in particular, listen to this carefully. The Acholi community is facing an existential situation. Existential situation means you are delicately balanced between certain death and survival. That is where that community is hanging right now. The Central Luo community has radically and comprehensively collapsed. You heard me right. It's a radical and comprehensive societal collapse. The culture of which I spoke, the educational capital and heritage that one can speak of, the music and dances, the prosperity of the progressive society that was, and our moral order above all has collapsed. This thanks to some 20 plus years of warfare between the government and various rebel groups, and the internment of the entire society in camps for 20 years, in conditions that many of you are familiar with. That has produced a radical, comprehensive collapse of the Central Luo society in Uganda. Just now I'm coming from Gulu, where we had a convocation called Goreme Pongduo, Convocation of Pongduo, because the first convocation we had last year was in a place called Pongduo. The reason for that convocation, which is being led by our Chief Justice in Uganda, Alphonse Windolo, and myself, is we gathered all our leaders across the spectrum and said, faced with this existential situation, what can we do? Not what the government can do or what the US can do, but what can we do? And we decided that we must come together and make every effort we can in our weakness, in our vulnerability, in the collapse which has taken place, to save this society from extinction. That's the reason for Goreme Pongduo, which we had first last year, and the second one we've just now ended yesterday in Gulu. I bring to you greetings from Chief Justice Owindolo, who wanted very much to be here, but couldn't make it. And our message to you is that the Central Luo of Uganda was a hugely important pillar of the Luo people. I say was because of the existential situation we are facing. The Luo people and Luo civilization is much the weaker without that pillar. It is in everybody's interest, all well-meaning people of goodwill, women and men of all communities, to join us to work to rebuild, to restore, and to transform a fallen society. That is why just 2 days ago, we came out with these two publications. The first one is Chikpa Kara. This is the commandments of the community. Kara is the community. Kara is the society. We looked into our society, saw the moral collapse, a society that was so morally strong, had clear do's and don'ts, and we are now floating. And we've come up with this. The Attorney General of Uganda said, there is nothing in this that collides with the Constitution or the laws of Parliament. You can proceed to work with this and enforce it within the Luo community. Now, you may look into this and find things which are useful, but this is the commandments that we have compiled for our people. Here is Kitwa, or in the language of the Central Luo today, we say also Kit Mewa. We discovered that our people who were born in the camps and grew up there don't know what qualities we are talking about the Luos. Because they have not been taught, they have not been inculcated, they have not been exposed to it. So we sat down and compiled some qualities which are crucial, critical to being a Luo. Among them, some of the ones which I just cited a little while ago. So, my dear brothers and sisters, this is my message to you from Acholi land, from Gulu and the Goreme Pongduon, which just ended. We are looking forward to a Pan-Luo convocation. One of our resolutions says in 2026, we would love to have a big Pan-Luo convocation. It can be here, it can be in Uganda, it can be anywhere, we can discuss that. But we want a big Pan-Luo convocation. Finally, my message to you is this. I have had the opportunity to be associated with the United Nations and other international organizations. With the African Union from the time it was the OAU. I was actually there when the African Union was formed. I've worked very hard to strengthen some of its institutions. I know what it takes to be a leader of nations. I know what qualities are required to push Africa to the next level today. Africa needs a person of conviction, a person driven by conviction, not self-interest. Africa needs a person who's gone through the baptism of fire, who has fought the struggle, who knows what it means to be in the dungeons. And Africa needs somebody Machunye Tech, somebody with courage, somebody with a somebody Magene. Africa needs somebody Machunye Tech. Africa needs JPM because we have so many challenges to overcome. The timid, those who are easily daunted, cannot face those challenges. And above all, Africa needs a person who is passionate about the well-being of the ordinary people, of the ordinary Africans across the land, across the entire continent, and to whom segregation and discrimination along sectarian lines, along ethnic lines, along national lines are foreign. And so, it is not because he comes from here, it is not because Jacom is a Luo, but because this is what Africa needs today. That a few months ago, my friend Salim Lone and myself wrote an article which has been widely syndicated across the globe, recommending with all our heart and all our force and all our conviction that word Tuon, that word Luo, that Jacom, the blessings of all our ancestors, the blessings of all our people, all the Pan-Africanists who preceded us, that those blessings may shower upon him, because he's a leader Africa has been waiting for. I thank you, and God bless you, Joey. Erokamano.